Hello, everyone, and welcome to 7. We're finishing up Section 7. This is 30, number 30 in the Living Theosophy channel keeping track thing. But anyway, it's actually Section 7 in the Key to Theosophy. So we're finishing that up, and we're working with the teleprompter. I'm going to go much slower because it is daunting. These teachings would take lifetimes to absorb, and I just read them along with you because I like to study with you. I'm a fellow student. I'm not a teacher. The platform from which these teachings are to be taught from are meant for the teachings, not the teacher, and I'm not a teacher. I'm just a really enthusiastic student of Theosophy, and I'm a former public speaker. I was in radio and television for a long time in California. I now live here in the United Kingdom, and I wish to be of service. So I voice these texts. There is a link to this text down below, a free PDF. You can click on it and you can read along, and I highly recommend doing that. Don't just take my word for it. Don't just listen to me read these words to you, but digest them yourself. Apply these teachings, because if you study just for the sake of studying and memorizing without applying and becoming these teachings, then something is lacking and it's not going to work. You become these teachings, and your life will change. They are the fundamental teachings of compassion, of kindness, of unity, of empathy and understanding. And they are the root of all the world's religions, sciences, and philosophies. So on this channel, which is growing, and I appreciate you being here. If you like what you see here, please share it. So let's see, over here, I always get my left and right mixed up. Anyway, click the little purple picture to subscribe. You can click the notification bell so you know when I go live. We do live book studies of The Voice of the Silence. And we're going to do those on Saturday nights from the UK in the evening, so I can be available for most of all the way to California and some of the United Kingdom and some of Europe. I think that might be the best time. I've gone on before and it's been a mausoleum, but anyway, it doesn't matter. It's just a matter of you catching it when you want to. But I really appreciate you being here. And if you want to support this channel, there are audiobooks that are for free. They should always be for free. I have voiced these texts, and they're available on this YouTube channel. If you wish to support the channel, you can do so by visiting the Living Theosophy website. And you go to the shop, and I put these little support packages together so you can get copies of these audiobooks at a greatly reduced price from the global retail outlets, because they're on there too. But that helps keep things going here at Living Theosophy, and I appreciate this because they should be free, and they will always be free. And this is a labor of love. So before we get into Section 7 and finish that up, I want to let you know I have been advised to go slower. So I'm going to try to slow down the teleprompter quite a bit, and so you can maybe digest as we go along. But the most important thing is listen to this if you want to. You can actually go to the gear section on your YouTube video down below there, click the gear icon, and then you can set the listen back speed. You can slow that down. I like to, when I'm studying things on YouTube, I like to set it to 75, even 50%. So I'm going to slow down quite a bit today. So we'll see if I can do that. But let's go. Let's go. We are going into wrapping up Section 7. That means we are on page, ladies and gentlemen, where are we? Oh no, there we are. Hang on. I made it wide, you know, your page. Hang on. Here we go. We are on page 117. How are we there already? Oh, that's good. 117. We're going to go and begin. So you can get the copy and read along. You can get the copy afterwards. You can just listen to me talk, but just know that these are of the utmost importance, especially now in our lives here on planet Earth. The application of these teachings is, it's essential. So, and they're ageless, and they belong to everybody and solely to no one. So let's get started. Here we go. Finishing Section 7 on the various post-mortem states, which means after death, okay, on the various principles in man, okay? Written in question and answer form, the inquirer asks, I have heard a good deal about this constitution of the inner man, as you call it, but could never make head or tails on it, as Gabelise expresses in Comte de Gabelise, which is a French book text, first published in 1670. It was about an encounter with a master of the occult sciences. So, the mysterious Count of Gabelise. So anyway, that's the question asked. Theosophist answers, of course, it is most difficult and, as you say, puzzling to understand correctly and distinguish between the various aspects called by us the principles of the real ego. It is the more so as there exists a notable difference, a notable difference in the numbering of those principles by various Eastern schools. Though at the bottom there is the same identical substratum. Substratum, which means the underlying principle. Substratum. I always want to say substratum. Substratum of teaching. Inquirer asks, do you mean the Vedantins? Now, the Vedas, the complete knowledge of the Vedas, that's what the Vedantins means. That's the oldest and most authoritative body of sacred Hindu texts, the Vedas, composed in Sanskrit, and they are gathered into 4 collections, the Vedas are. As an instance, is the question, don't they divide your 7 principles into 5 only? Theosophist answers, they do, but though I would not presume to dispute the point with a learned Vedantin, I may yet state as my private opinion that they have an obvious reason for it. With them, it is only that compound spiritual aggregate which consists of various mental aspects that is called man at all. The physical body being in their view something beneath contempt and merely an illusion. Nor is the Vedanta the only philosophy to reckon in this manner. Lao Tzu, now some people say Lao Tzu, Lao Tzu, in his Tao Te Ching, some say Ching, Tao Te Ching, it means the way of integrity. He mentions only 5 principles because he, like the Vedantins, omits to include 2 principles, namely the spirit, Atma, and the physical body, the latter of which, moreover, he calls the cadaver. Then there is the Takara Raja Yoga School. Now, Takara is Brahman, okay? That means the unchanging, infinite, immanent, and transcendent reality, which is everything, the divine ground of all matter, energy, time, space, everything. And in this universe, it's everything. That is the one supreme universal spirit. And Raja means king. So its teaching recognizes only 3 principles, in fact. But then in reality, they're Stulapadi, I hope I'm saying that right, or the physical body in its waking conscious state. They're Shuksmapadi, I hope I'm saying that right. It's hard to find the pronunciations for these. Shuksmapadi, the same body, and Svapna, or the dreaming state. And they're Karanapadi, or causal body, or that which passes from one incarnation to another, are all dual in their aspects, and thus make 6. Add to this Atma, the impersonal divine principle, or the immortal element in man, undistinguished from the universal spirit. And you have the same 7 again. See the secret doctrine for a clearer explanation. That's in volume 1, page 157. They are welcome to hold to their division, and we hold to ours, Inquirer asks. Then it seems almost the same as the division made by the mystic Christians, body, soul, and spirit. Theosophist answers, just the same. We could easily make of the body the vehicle of the vital double, of the latter the vehicle of life or prana, of kamarupa or animal soul, the vehicle of the higher and the lower mind, and make of this 6 principles, crowning the whole with the one immortal spirit. In occultism, every qualificative qualificative, which means qualifying, qualificative change in the state of our consciousness gives to man a new aspect. And if it prevails and becomes part of the living and acting ego, it must be and is given a special name to distinguish the man in that particular state from the man he is when he places himself in another state. Inquirer, it is just that which is so difficult to understand. Theosophist, it seems very easy. On the contrary, once that you have seized the main idea, for example, that man acts on this or another plane of consciousness, okay, in another plane of consciousness, in strict accordance with his mental and spiritual condition. But such is the materialism of the age that the more that we explain, the less people seem to be capable of understanding. No matter what we say, divide the terrestrial being called man into three chief aspects, if you like. And unless you make of him a pure animal, you cannot do less. Take his objective body, the thinking principle in him, which is only a little higher than the instinctual element in the animal, or the vital conscious soul, and that which places him so immeasurably beyond and higher than the animal, for example, his reasoning soul or spirit. Well, if we take these three groups or representative entities and we subdivide them according to the occult teaching, what do we get? First of all, spirit, in the sense of the absolute, and therefore indivisible all, or Atma, as this can neither be located nor limited in philosophy, being simply that which sits in eternity, and which cannot be absent from even the tiniest geometrical or mathematical point of the entire universe of matter or substance. It ought not to be called, in truth, a human principle at all. Rather, and at best, it is in metaphysics that point in space which the human monad and its vehicle, man, occupy for the period of every life. Now that point is as imaginary as man himself, and in reality is an illusion, a maya. Now, Maya is a Sanskrit word that is, in Indian, it's a religious word that has multiple meanings, but usually it's translated into illusion, because ma means not and ya means this, so it means not this. It points out the fact that we do not experience the reality, but only a false image perceived by our minds, as when one pursues a mirage in a desert, when we think we see water, or maybe sees a rope and thinks it's a snake. So now that point is as imaginary. Let's repeat this, as man himself. It's an illusion. In reality, this is an illusion, a maya. But then for ourselves, as for other personal egos, we are a reality during that fit of illusion called life. And we have to take ourselves into account, in our own fancy, at any rate, if no one else does. To make it more conceivable to the human intellect, when first attempting the study of occultism, to solve the ABC of the mystery of man, occultism calls this seventh principle the synthesis, meaning combination, the synthesis of the sixth, and gives it for the vehicle, the spiritual soul, buddhi. Now the latter conceals a mystery which is never given to anyone, with the exception, there's an exception, of the irrevocably, it's a big word, pledged chelas. Now I call them chelas, they can be called kelas, they're students, or those at any rate who can be safely trusted. Of course, there would be less confusion could it only be told, but as this is directly concerned with the power of projecting one's double consciously and at will, and as this gift, like the ring of Gyges, the ring of Gyges is a mythical ring that Plato talks about that you can put on and you become invisible. Gives the owner the power of invisibility. That's what the ring of Gyges is. So that would prove to be very fatal to man at large. And so this isn't for everybody. So the possessor of that faculty in particular, it is carefully guarded. But let us proceed with the principles. This divine soul, or buddhi, then, is the vehicle of the spirit. In conjunction, these two are one, impersonal and without any attributes. Okay, on this plane, of course, and make two spiritual principles. If we pass on to the human soul, manas or mens, everyone will agree that the intelligence of man is dual, to say the least. For example, the high-minded man can hardly become low-minded. Can hardly become low-minded. The very intellectual and spiritual-minded man is separated by an abyss from the obtuse, which means unintelligent, dull, and material, if not animal-minded man. The inquirer then asks, but why should not man be represented by two principles, or maybe two aspects, rather? Theosophist answers, every man has these two principles in him, one more active than the other, and in rare cases, one of these is entirely stunted in its growth, so to say, or paralyzed by the strength and predominance of the other aspect in whatever direction. These men are what we call the two principles or aspects of manas, the higher and the lower. The former, the higher manas, or the thinking conscious ego, gravitating toward the spiritual soul, buddhi, and the latter, or its instinctual principle, attracted to kama. Now, kama means desire, the seat of animal desires and passions in man. Thus, we have four principles justified. The last three being one, the double, which we have agreed to call protean, Protean, which means never changing, or plastic soul, the vehicle of two, the life principle, and three, the physical body. Of course, no physiologist or biologist will accept these principles, nor can he make head or tail of them. And this is why, perhaps, none of them can understand to this day either the functions of the spleen, the physical vehicle of the protean, Protean, protean double, or those of a certain organ on the right side of man, the seat of the above-mentioned desires, nor yet does he know anything of the pineal gland, which he describes as a horny gland with a little sand inside of it, which gland, in truth, is the very seat of the highest and divinest consciousness in man, his omniscient, spiritual, and all-embracing mind. And this shows you still more plainly that we have neither invented these seven principles, nor are they new in the world of philosophy, as we can easily prove. Inquirer, but what is it that reincarnates in your belief? What is it that reincarnates? Theosophist answers, the spiritual thinking ego, the permanent principle in man, or that which is the seat of manas. It is not Atma or even Atma Buddhi, regarded as the dual monad, which is the individual or divine man, but monos for Atman is the universal all and becomes the higher self of man only in conjunction with buddhi, its vehicle, which links it to the individuality or divine man. For it is the buddhi manas, which is called the causal body, the united fifth and sixth principles, and which is consciousness that connects it with every personality it inhabits on earth. Therefore, soul being a generic term, there are in men three aspects of soul: the terrestrial or animal, the human soul, and the spiritual soul. These, strictly speaking, are one soul in its three aspects. Now, of the first aspect, nothing remains after death. Of the second, nous or monos, only its divine essence, if left unsoiled, survives. While the third, in addition to being immortal, becomes consciously divine by the assimilation of the higher manas. But to make it clear, we have to say a few words first of all about reincarnation. Okay, we need to say this first. Inquirer then says, well, you will do well, as it is against this doctrine that your enemies fight the most ferociously. Theosophist says, you mean the spiritualists? Yeah, I know. And many are the absurd objections laboriously spun by them over the pages of light. So obtuse and malicious are some of them that they will stop at nothing. One of them found recently a contradiction in which he gravely discusses in a letter to that journal in two statements picked out of Mr. Sennett's lectures. He discovers that grave contradiction in these two sentences. Premature returns to earth life in the cases when they occur may be due to karmic complication. And there is no accident in the supreme act of divine justice guiding evolution. So profound a thinker would surely see contradiction of the law of gravitation if a man stretched out his hand to stop a falling stone from crushing the head of a child. Surely that can be seen. So most of that, I'm reading the text as is. I have interjected some explanations of the words, some definitions, forestalling, because I wanted to make sure I read it as clear as possible. It is difficult on the teleprompter because the words are very close together, and sometimes I'm not sure where the sentence ends, because I do study these lessons before I come on here, but sometimes the texts splatter. This is it's an app actually that I use. I use the teleprompter app. I should give a shout out to teleprompter app. It's black and red, and that's how I do these. So it's a lot better than me looking down at the book like when we started 3 years ago. So we are on now page where we finished section 7, okay, which is a really big deal. And so we are now on page, hang on, we will be moving on next time to, okay, the various postmortem states. We just did that. We did the entire thing. Section 7, hang on. The heck. Anyway, yeah, various principles of man, just finished that. We're going to be going on into reincarnation. That is section 8. We'll be starting that next time. That is reincarnation or rebirth. Now, I know a lot of people freak out about that, but look how far we've come. We've done this. We need to do this. So it'll still be a while. I try to get one out a month, but that doesn't always happen because this last month I was at the Theosophical Society in London doing my very first talk there as a student of Theosophy. I am not a teacher. I am not a lecturer. I am a public speaker, and I am a passionate student of Theosophy. But I was there on the 22nd of February this last year, 2020, and we were talking about the commonalities of the near-death experience and the wisdom that's brought back from these near-death experiences and what is in these teachings, these textbooks for humanity. You don't have to have a near-death experience in order to understand cosmogenesis, the origin of the cosmos, the universe, anthropogenesis, the origin of man. You have everything, theology, science, quantum physics. It's all there. Love, unconditional, connectedness, empathy, understanding, compassion, compassion, compassion. Anyway, so what I do here on Living Theosophy on this channel is I am simply a public speaker wishing to be of service to mankind. So whatever year it is that you happen to come across this, get a copy of these for yourselves, study, apply, become them. That's the most important thing. Become these teachings. When you become them, that's when the change takes place. You can read whatever you want, but when you become compassion, in everyday you don't go somewhere just to study and listen to spiritual things or whatever for an hour once a week. That's ridiculous. In every day, in every way, in every situation, whether it be the teleprompter drama or the fact that my feet might be showing in this shot, or the fact that I need to go balance some books and make some payments and juggle some finances around, or we have something wrong with a car, or a missed house payment, or somebody passes away, or I mean, it can be anything. It can be a broken heart. It can be things don't go your way. You know, life will throw you some curveballs. In every day, in every way, Theosophy can be applied. And it isn't just Theosophy. Theosophy is not a religion. These are the ancient, sacred knowledge, truth, wisdoms that belong to all mankind. And they are based not on faith. They are based on experience. They are based on proof. Okay, so yeah, I do get really excited about it. I do. And this is what I do full time now. So I can't think of anything more important to do than to be of service to humanity. So thank you for being here. I'm glad that you're here. We will be doing a live Voice of the Silence book studies on Saturday nights. So that's what you've told me works good for you. So subscribe to the channel if you can, and it's over to the left. Click the notification button so you can be notified when we go live. And then those are little group study sessions where your commentary is very necessary and needed, and everybody is welcome. So I'm not pontificating from a podium. I am simply studying with you. I am on the path with you. And we are each other. We are one another. I love you very much, and I will see you soon. So thank you, and I try to respond to every comment. If I miss you, hit me up again. All things Living Theosophy across all platforms, Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. I do try to keep solely theosophical. There is a platform that takes you backstage into our lives, who we are personally. I do talk about the restoration of this house, and we play some games. It's just silliness, fun on the Periscope Living Theosophy channel. So if you want to check us out there, it's kind of like a backstage reality show. It's a lot of fun. We have a blast over there. But Living Theosophy is just that. You are practicing these teachings in everything that you do, even in your sleep. Because there's more to be explained there too. Karma, reincarnation, what happens when we sleep, what happens when we die, ghosts, you name it. It's all answered. Space, it's all answered in Theosophy. So I'm going to stop now. I love you. I'll see you soon. I hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you for watching this far. Since you're here, let's subscribe. Let's do it together. Just click the purple picture, hit subscribe, and then the notification button, and then you're notified when a new book study or a new video is uploaded, so we can hang out together. That would be awesome. I love you.